is it? Yes. Okay. Have you experienced any experience with the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office?
This Congressman, as I mentioned previously, I have met with them.
Okay. You heard Mr. Alexander describe psychological operations for those contacting the Department of Defense about UAPs. You mentioned a similar influence operation by Arrow. Why are federal agencies invested in running information operations about UAPs if they do not exist?
Yes, sir. I'll make a statement on Arrow's behalf. They have new leadership. The office has reached out to me to meet again, and I take that as a good faith effort, and we'll see where that goes.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I've run over.
Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. I would now like to recognize Mr. Higgins. You're the king of Tennessee. Mr. Higgins, you're recognized for 5 minutes of questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Elizondo.
Man, he sounds like death.
Schellenberger notes in the report that we've been given for this hearing. I believe Mr. Schellenberger, let me shift you, an author of this report.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not the author.
Mr. Schellenberger, were you the author
About
of
to
this?
drive through an
of this
abandoned
report?
neighborhood.
No.
This is where all those houses
You
used
know
to
the
might
author?
be.
I do.
You do. And how would you estimate that?
Oh, that whole neighborhood that was once here? This was that whole
the
neighborhood?
person is a current or former U.S. government employee.
And it states here that this is the public version of the author's report.
It's fucking
Yes.
closed. God
So
damn it.
where might one find the non-public
entry.
version of the author's report?
I don't know the answer to that.
Would that be with the Department of Defense?
I don't know.
But you do know the author.
I do.
You know what
Every
the
single house is
author's
gone, except the
sources were?
telephone pole.
The
But the power
author's
lines are still power
sources
lines.
are described in the report.
Huh,
These
what's this?
databases, the Immaculate Constellation.
Right, but you
I
expressed
see an
some
entrance?
confidence in the sources
I would.
earlier
Well, I
in
said
your
I'm just
in
ready to suck in
testimony.
some mud.
You expressed confidence, so do you
no
know those
way.
sources?
Yeah, no, that's not the entrance I would go through unless I had a 4x4 truck or Jeep. I should tell my buddy to come over here and be like, yo, I got a good ass mud spot for you to come off roading in your truck. Should be fun if you had a good truck to do it in. I get stuck in that shit, I'm not even gonna try it. Sure, the streets are still at the other end, but I can't make it there. Now back to the aliens. Still got this one house on the left here too. Get back to the aliens and the government admitting they're real now. Man, what the fuck? Man, what the fuck, man? I think I'm trying to get it playing again. Give me a second. Here we go. And it's that one house that they're gonna leave on the left. I think it's a church.
Therefore, and just share that openly with the recipients of the email, and therefore the email was pulled
And that
from
last
every
house that's gonna
account.
stay.
Again, tell us what
part
happened
of
to
the
the
church.
email from the Commander of Fleet Forces.
The day after I received it, and all the other
There
recipients
is really
received it,
good
which
in
were all the
that. And down
subordinate
there is a
commanders
big
of
gray
U.S. Fleet
building.
Forces,
I
so
think it's
1
a
and
data-
2-star
we're gonna
admirals,
have a data
including strike group
processing
commanders.
center here
The
soon.
email was wiped or deleted from our accounts,
Okay.
and then no one talked about it.
All right. Have you specifically had any experience
Really
with
gotta get home,
submersible objects?
There's that church.
So I've not no
supposed to
personal
say.
experience, but I've had witnesses on submarines come to me and say they've seen
Aliens.
on sonar.
I believe them.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
How would you
USOs.
characterize those, and how do they move?
Aliens.
The one instance that was revealed to me was
Unnormal to Earth.
in the 80s on a nuclear-powered submarine, a ballistic missile submarine, that the object exhibited the characteristics of a Russian torpedo in terms of its speed of movement and closing rate with the submarine. and then it
That's where that
slowed,
abandoned area.
and followed the submarine slowly in its wake for a period of minutes,
There
and
used to
then
be houses
rapidly
all
exited
along
the
here,
scene.
too,
Nothing
all the way to
that
the
we
street
know
back
of and
there.
technology-wise could replicate that.
Now, the speed of these objects was faster than anything that we have or anybody else has that would be manned. Is that correct?
Oh, we're trying to
Yeah,
go
it
around
was
to
on the
it.
order
Underwater.
of a torpedo. So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But as it exited, it,
Well, I don't exactly know how fast a torpedo is, but
I don't know how
that's
fast
better
a
than my
torpedo is.
old outboard Scott Atwater, so I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you experienced any experience with the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW?
yes, Congressman, as I mentioned previously, I have met with them.
Okay. You heard Mr. Alexander describe psychological operations for those contacting the Department of Defense about UAPs. You mentioned a similar influence operation by ARROW. Why are federal agencies invested in running information operations about UAPs if they do not exist?
For
Yes,
real.
sir. Yeah, but I'll make a statement on ARROW's behalf. They have new leadership. The office has reached out to me to meet again, and I take that as a good faith effort, and we'll see
Oh,
where
that's
that
way
goes.
to go
Thank you,
around.
Chair Lady. I've run over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. I would now like to recognize Mr. Higgins.
That is the other end of it.
You're the king of
What's
Tennessee.
that? A little
Mr.
rope?
Higgins, you're recognized for 5.
Yeah, I've never seen that thing before.
I believe Mr. Schellenberg, let me shift you with the author of this,
Oh, that's a factory.
this report.
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not the author.
Mr. Schellenberg. If this is the public version of the author's report,
Yes.
so where might one find the non-public
Like,
version?
subscribe,
of
share, by the
author's
way. Make sure you hit that thumbs up.
I don't know the answer.
Man, you can't even
Would that
drive
be
in from
with
this
the
side.
Department of
You got the gate
Defense?
closed
I don't-
to it.
Feels like a dream, feels like magic. Now I believe I can have it.
This is where there used to be even more expensive houses here than the other ones. Fuck you, Temu. You sell straight garbage ass shit, Temu. Breaks immediately. Or is this like such a shitty knockoff? It doesn't work.
Built for that mid-century original.
What the fuck's it? Loading. Nothing I can do about that.
But you do know the author.
I do.
You know what the author's sources were? That's right.
It drives.
I don't know the answer.
Would that be with the Department of Defense?
I don't know.
But you do know the author.
I do.
You know what the author's sources were?
The author's sources are described in the report. These databases, Immaculate Constellation.
But you expressed some confidence in the sources.
I would.
Earlier in testimony, you expressed confidence. So do you know those sources?
I do.
Are they within the department?
That's a good video.
Let it go over like a squirrel. Like a bull.
Go watch this video, it's a good video. Car show, USA flag and higher muscle cars, I got you. Like, subscribe, share, hit thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Let's let this play for another minute, actually. There, that car sounds good. Alright, there we go.
Where's that shit? There we go, that shit gas back.
Video, I definitely recommend watching it. I'll show something else.
Field, soldiers on the ground, tanks, and you name it. But a lot of World War III will be fought in other ways. So up until
Hang on, give me a second. Hold on, give me a second.
was pretending like this was not a big deal at all. They were saying, oh, this is most likely some type of training exercise. And Ukraine, they weren't taking it seriously at all either. In fact, they were partying. They said that Russia was bluffing, nothing to see here. But then I noticed something. As they were gathering this army, what originally let me know that this was more than training, that this was serious, was when Russia started to construct these military field hospitals right on the border. And they started having truckloads come in with blood, right? At that point, I knew, okay, this is not a game. This is not training. they're about to go in. And they're already preparing for injuries, they're preparing for people to lose blood, all this stuff. They're going in for sure. Now, eventually the U.S. finally came around and started taking it seriously, but literally, Ukraine, it wasn't until maybe a day or two, I would say maybe just a few days before Russia invaded, that Ukraine actually took it seriously. They were acting like nothing to see here for the longest. Now, in the opening days of this conflict, I was really worried and scared about Putin. Now, to be clear, I'm not here to tell you that Putin is a good guy, because he's not. We know that he knocks off a lot of his political rivals and stuff, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Initially, when this conflict started, I was scared that we were going to see something like Blitzkrieg 2.0. A lightning war where Russia just rolls right through Ukraine and just starts rolling through Europe. I was scared that we may see something like that at first, okay?
Yeah, we couldn't be that lucky.
Now, part of the reason why I was scared about that was because a lot of the propaganda that was out there. I mean, in America, we've been raised to kind of look at Russia as our enemies since birth. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I hate Russia or I hate Russians. That couldn't be further from the truth, but we kind of look at them as our adversaries. Hell, I grew up watching Rocky. What is his name? Ivan Drago or something? You know what I mean? Like, we grew up looking at Russia like, hey, they're our adversaries, right? They're our competition. So initially, I was really scared about what could happen, and I'm still to this day scared about what this conflict can turn into, but I'm scared for different reasons. Because it's clear to me that in the opening days of the conflict, they were accusing Russia of this, they were accusing Russia of that. They said Putin wanted to do this and that, Putin wanted to take over all of these countries, and it's become evidently clear that that's not the truth. In fact, I don't even think that Putin wants all of Ukraine. I think he wants to take a few regions, and we can sit here and talk about how that's not okay or whatever. But the reality is it's happening, and the reality is that it's not happening for no reason. Putin didn't wake up and decided, hey, I'm going to invade Ukraine for no reason. I want more land. I want more territory. No, there were warnings, clear warnings set out for years that led up to the invasion. And the reality is, as much as I hate to say it, I believe that the U.S. and NATO are more responsible for this conflict than Russia. Because Russia has sent out, they've drawn some lines in the sands, and they've told and they've warned America and NATO about certain things, and we keep ignoring those warnings and going full steam ahead. And we're basically we keep expecting Russia to back down, to constantly back down. Russia draws this one line in the sand, we step over it, and we expect Russia to draw another line in the sand 10 yards further back, right? Well, eventually, if you keep pushing someone into a corner, they're going to push back. And I think that's what's happening right now in Ukraine. Russia is starting to push back. And they have threatened that they were going to push back a long time ago, but finally, Ukraine was kind of like the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. But now, when I look at this conflict, I look at it from a totally different perspective, in a whole new light, because I don't feel like Putin is the conqueror that they tried to make him out to be. I don't think he's here trying to conquer the world or take over Europe. I don't think he wants to really do any of that. And I think that's been made clear by his actions. Because I try to tell people this all the time, they don't understand. If Putin and Russia wanted to win a decisive victory over Ukraine and wipe out Ukraine, they could have by now.
Easily.
They could have.
Very easily.
They're honestly looking at the war, it doesn't even make sense that the Russian army is using the restraint that they are.
Seriously.
But it makes sense when you realize that maybe they want to limit the amount of civilians who are killed. Maybe they don't want to wipe out all of the infrastructure. Maybe they don't want to level entire city blocks. You know what I mean? So, all I'm saying is, if they wanted this war to be over...
Damn commercials.
What was that?
It's my back again.
It says here it could be kidney stones.
Or to be over quickly, if they wanted to go a different route, if Putin was the man they accused him of being, then the war in Ukraine would already be over. We would already be looking at a war in a different region now.
Seriously.
So it's clear that a lot of the stuff that we've been fed is just not true.
Seriously.
But as you guys know, Biden recently has given Ukraine these long-range missiles.
Stupid.
He's given them the okay to use the long-range missiles against Russia. And he's done this on purpose because he has about 2 months left in office. And their plan is to drag the U.S. into World War III.
So that way Biden can stay the president.
That's the plan. It's clear as day. They want to...
I would be surprised if they did that.
...throw fuel on all of the flames that are burning throughout the world, right? There's a lot of little conflict. There's little problems going on throughout the world. And instead of doing something to help, instead of doing nothing, Biden, the Biden administration, the people who are pulling the strings behind the scenes, they are purposely ensuring that things get as bad as possible before Trump takes over. And that's what we're witnessing in Ukraine. There's no reason why you had to use long-range missiles now. There's no reason why.
Except to escalate
unless you wanted to sabotage the next administration.
Seriously.
And these people don't care if the U.S. gets thrown into nuclear war over it, as long as they can make Trump look bad. That's the reality of the situation. It's a sad reality, but it's the truth nonetheless. But anyway, Putin has made himself very clear about how Russia will respond to Ukraine using these long-range missiles. And instead of listening to other people talk, instead of listening to me talk, let's listen to Putin out of his own mouth. He's going to talk for a few minutes here. I think it's important to listen because he lays out
hit that thumbs up, by the way.
everything that he intends on doing if the U.S. and NATO keeps poking. If the U.S. and NATO doesn't back down. He's letting it be known loud and clear what the plan is. So let's go ahead and roll this clip. Let's understand what Russia plans on doing here, and then I'll be right back with more.
Well, what?
Around the world,
How are you watching this?
to still nurture illusions that a strategic defeat can be inflicted against Russia. About events that are happening
said, yeah, why
in the
are
Special
you
Military
watching
Operations
this
Zone.
on your car? How do you know I'm in my car?
I'm talking about what
We had a gaming
happened
setup. Jesse,
in the wake
what's up?
of long-range Western weapons being
Let's
used
interrupt Mr.
in
Putin.
the Special Military Operations Zone. As a result of the escalation, in the United States
Hey,
and
Putin, thank you for not blowing us up. I know Biden's being a real
give their permission
dickhead.
to use
but thank
long-range
you.
weapons against targets inside Russia. Experts know fully well, and the Russian side has underscored this time and again, that using such weapons without the direct involvement of military operators from manufacturing countries is impossible. On November the 19th, 6 ATACMS missiles manufactured in the US were used, and on the 21st, a combined attack using Storm Shadow manufactured in the UK and missiles manufactured in the US were used to attack missile
Thank
targets
you for not killing me,
in the
Mr.
Bryansk
Putin.
and Kursk regions of the Russian Federation.
Trump will be in soon, don't worry. Just
Starting from that point,
take
as
that
we
bullying
have
a little bit more
underscored
from Biden, and it'll get
many
better.
times,
You don't gotta
the
kill us all,
conflict
Mr.
in
Putin.
Ukraine, provoked by the West, acquired a global character. Our anti-missile systems countered those attacks. As a result, the targets and objectives set by the enemy were not achieved. The fire and the ammunition storage in the Bryansk region as a result of the fragments of attackers' missiles falling, has been contained. No victims. In the Kursk region, one of the command and control centers of our Soviet group was attacked. As a result of the attack and the countermeasures, there have been people wounded and killed, and those who were involved in servicing these facilities, those who were members of the command, have not been hit by the attack and are now continuing their operation to remove the enemy from the Kursk region. I repeat, the use of such weapons cannot change the course of a special military operation. Our military is successfully advancing along the entire line of contact, and all the objectives that we set before ourselves.
Especially with that UFO they probably got, right?
To the use of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate range Russian missile system. A ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used.
But they couldn't
test
carry
was
it,
carried out
nuclear
successfully.
payload.
The objectives of the launch have been met. One of the largest and well-known industrial centers that is known since the Soviet times in the Dnieper region, which is known to be involved in army production, was hit. And further plans are being made in Europe and the Asia Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles, and we believe that it is a mistake on the part of the United States to destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and have successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world, and their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them. The further course of action will be determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries who allow their weapons to be used against ours. And in case of an escalation, we will act as decisively in a mere intention. The ruling elites of the countries
Oh, it's fucking cold out. God damn, what's the temperature? 31. Holy shit.
intentions against Russia should be
Burn.
when choosing measures to be used in response, such as use of systems that was tested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted, and we will
Although that's something that I gotta get in. Like, subscribe, share, hit thumbs up. Thank you for watching, all 152 people. Yep, prepare for nuclear war, Byron. Sorry, you're right. Oh no. Yeah, what are you watching? I'm listening. Okay. Oh, like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, yo. Thanks for watching. We'll do a live again. Go check out my older videos. I got a lot of good older videos in the shorts live category, shorts category, and video category. There's a lot of good videos in there. Like, subscribe, share, and hit thumbs up. Thanks for watching, yo.